We're in Japan together, and he's like, yo, we should get this massive koi for Shaq. So we found this like huge koi over 3 feet, and he's just like, this koi's like really fat. I'm gonna name it Charles Barkley.
Stretch it out. Stretch it out.
Benny, what episode is this?
Episode 37.
Episode 37 of the Real Talk Podcast. It's your host, Joey.
And Thomas.
And if you like what you're hearing, please like, subscribe, and comment down below.
What's up, my brother?
Whew, big moves, literally.
Literally. Big moves.
TP's moving in.
Moving out and moving in.
And
new spot.
And we got a new office space.
Yep. Moving personally and professionally.
Shout out Ashley one time.
Shout out Ashley. We're going to have to bring her back on one day.
I know.
Talk to Ashley. But
Ashley's moved on to different things.
Ashley's moving on to different things. We're all moving on to different things. But shout out Ashley. Ben, you're gonna need to clip this. Ashley has been
wonderful.
Yeah, she's literally been like
the backbone.
Yeah, honestly, like making sure we're scheduled, making sure that things are just getting done around here. A lot thrown at her, and she handled it with the utmost grace and positivity, and never, even when she was going through things, she never showed it. She continued to stay professional and killed it.
And now we're hiring a salesperson.
Now we're hiring a salesperson.
So if you know any salespeople out there, please send them our way.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's 4th of July weekend.
4th of July weekend.
We're about to go do it. About to go to Massachusetts.
You're going to Massachusetts, another bachelor party.
I'm over these bachelor parties, dude. My friends, please stop getting married. I can't afford it.
Joe's next. Angie. Joe, tell me who we got on today.
Today, we have Brian Fitzsimmons, owner of Fitz's Fish Ponds, the largest Japanese koi importer in the USA. Brian has amassed over 100,000 followers on Instagram and turned his childhood passion into a multi-million-dollar business. Everybody welcome Brian Fitzsimmons! What's going on, brother? How are you?
What's going on?
Good,
how's it going?
Good. So I'm excited to have you on today because I remember like back in high school, you were always the entrepreneurial type, you know? And you always had that grind to you. So can you tell us like a little bit about where like Fitz's Fish Pond started from like the ground level?
The ground level, I think I was 12 and I wanted a pond in my backyard. And my parents went on vacation and I just dug a hole and made a little koi pond in the backyard. And then a few weeks later, I got a job at a local place, started working, and I realized at like 14, I was like, man, I hate working for somebody else. It's like they're telling me what to do. It's just like school. I got to start my own business. And then at a young age, I just started hustling.
And when you were in school, were you like focused on school or were you just strictly entrepreneur? Like how did like the work-life balance, even in like high school, work for you?
You know, I never liked school from like 3rd grade, you know. It just wasn't for me. Structure, being told what to do. And then when I was like 13 or 14, I started like an eBay, like the garage sale eBay hustler.
The Gary Vee.
Yeah, started doing that and realized like really young, like, hey, life's expensive. The things I like cost a lot of money. I need to figure out how to make some money. Yeah. And then it turns out I love building ponds and selling koi fish, and it really just snowballed from there. And just I haven't looked back. Just keep grinding on it.
And then, so once you started the business, when did you know it was going to be like a real thing? Because I mean, at such a young age, did you always know it was going to blow up the way it blew up?
When I was in high school, it was more just like a side like hobby. I never knew like how big it could be or what it really turned into. And then I think I was 18 or 19, and I was on Instagram, and someone from California messaged me and was like, "Oh, like you want to come out to this like trade show or have a new product? We want to invite you out, be like our New Jersey distributor." And I was just like, yeah, you know what? I'll go. It was like a free trip. I was like, these guys want to pay me, like this 18-year-old kid, to like go to California and be their New Jersey product rep. Like, yeah, I'm down. Like free vacation, whatever. So I go out there, I do it, and then that year, like I learned a lot about like how these guys are doing it, and they're all like in their 40s and 50s, and like I'm like, man, my business is like pretty similar to theirs, and I'm like 18. So I was like, just that year I hustled. And I remember like my dad was doing my taxes that year, and I never like kept great books or anything. I was just head down, work, sell, like do whatever I could. My dad's like, hey, Brian, you did like $500,000 this year. Like, I hope you have some money for taxes. And I was like, what? No way. He's like, yeah, this could be like a real thing. And I was like, all right, like cool. And that's just when I realized like, man, like, this could be like a real job for me.
And was college always off the books for you?
So I went to college. My parents wanted me to go for at least they gave me the opportunity to try college. So I went there for my parents paid for 2 semesters, but like the first week of the second semester, I called my parents and I was like, this isn't for me. And they're like, we figured. They're like, but you're a dumbass. I was like, why? My dad's like, I just spent $30,000 for your next semester and I can't get the money back. He's like, I would have just given it to you. And that's when I just like dropped out. And I think it was my freshman second semester. I was like, I'm done. I'm just going to hustle.
And was that hard for you? Like everyone in college, was that hard for you to be like, all right, fuck it? Or were you just like, I'm successful now?
What happened was it was like the spring going into second semester and like my phone was blowing up. Customers were calling me. And like, at that age, I could make like, $2,000 a day, $1,500 a day with the business. And there wasn't much overhead. So I was like, I'm not going to sit in a classroom when like my customers are going to go to competitors. I was like, I just need to get out of this school and get back to it.
When did you get to the point to where, like, you wanted to turn this thing into like a brand that was known like worldwide?
It was never like a goal to do that. It just kind of happened, right? We're just doing what we do, selling ponds, selling fish, and then I just always want to just grow it, right? That's like my passion. Like, how can I do it better? How can I find people to replace me in my jobs? And just, it was never like, let's be a global koi brand. Like, we sell koi now all over the world, but it was never, I never thought that would happen. Like, I never thought when I was like hustling koi out of my parents' house that I would like be going to Japan for a month at a time, like shipping koi like all over the world.
Do you remember like that first client you had that you were like, okay, like this could be something?
So it's like my first like really rich client that I had, this guy Jeff, lived up in Warren.
Shout out Jeff.
Shout out Jeff one time.
Yeah, Jeff with a G. That's what I remember.
Jeff with a G.
So you knew he was rich.
G off.
Yeah, and I built this like pond for him, and it didn't come out great. And like he trusted me.
Yeah.
And, like it was like my first like big job. I probably was still in high school, so I did it. Like this was like my first job where the guy's like, "Do you have insurance?" And I'm like, no. He said, well, I'm going to need it before you start. So I was like, I got to get insurance. Like, got insurance, did the job. And then he ordered like 10 grand to fish. And I was like, holy shit. Like, this is insane. Like, bought the fish for like 2 or 3 grand, like made $7,000. Like, it was just like, wow, this is something. And that's like where I realized like, there's a lot of people like this. And we just started finding them.
Do you remember hiring your first employee?
My first job ever, I remember I hired someone from high school. My mom drove me there in her SUV, and like I had the guy like meet me there, and we just did it like together. And it was like I didn't really hire him. It was just like the first like helping hand.
Yeah.
It was like a side job from when I worked at the like the garden center where I was selling the pond stuff.
What were you looking for in someone like bringing on? Was it just someone that just knew what they were doing, someone who was personable with clients?
The first person, I was like 14 or 15 when I had my first employee. So it was kind of just like,
anybody.
Can you move dirt and rocks? All right, let's go. But as it grew, I realized I needed like different people to do different things for me. And I constantly replace myself in the business. So like different areas where if I'm doing something, I get it to a point and then I realize like, all right, I'm doing this too much. Let's find someone else to do it. And most of the times people just do it better than me when they focus 100% instead of like whatever ADD 5 minutes, 10 minutes of time I can give it that day.
Did you have trouble like letting go of any of the responsibilities? Because I know for me, like letting go of like the edits or letting go of the shooting was super hard for me because I personally didn't think anyone could do it better than me. But then trusting like my employees, it's something I had to learn. Was that hard for you at all?
We grew so fast, so I constantly had to just let go. Like there wasn't a choice. We were just so busy. I was like working 80, 90 hours a week, 7 days a week, just nonstop. So there was just not enough time for me to do everything. And the way I looked at it was in between this stint of like college, building Fitz Fish Ponds to a global brand, as you said, I worked at a financial firm for 2 years. I got like my securities license. I sold like life insurance, 401ks, like
That
all
sounds exactly. That's what I did before I realized I hated it.
Yeah, so I did all that, and that was really cool. But I learned a lot about business and meeting with people that are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that are entrepreneurs, had their own business, but they had no like exit strategy. And to me, it was like so like eye opening. Like, well, you've worked in this business for 30 years, and now you there's no infrastructure to sell it. There's no people in place. And like my boss there, who's I still am friends with today, he's actually does all my financial planning for me. He would be like, Brian, you don't want to do $20 an hour work. You don't want to do $25 an hour work. And just constantly having that like mindset as I was growing was like a really like simple thing to find people. Be like, you can do something, you can find someone to do it, but you have to spend your time doing like higher level work.
100%.
So
And in the early days, did you pull any insight from like the companies that you previously worked for that transitioned into like your own business?
So I'd always pull like tidbits, like an aha moment, like, oh, they're doing this really, really well. That's cool. And then take that, bring it into my business. But I never found someone that was like, I'm going to copy them like word for word. So it's tough because you want to make your own thing, but sometimes you have like an eye-opening experience from somebody where it's just like a nice thing.
And you had like some ups and downs in the business. I remember, I think like 2019 or 2020, you had like a fire, right?
Yeah, actually like a mile from here.
Yeah.
Our building burnt. We just moved into a new building, and the whole place burnt down
Oh my God.
to the ground. We lost like everything, and we actually just bought all the inventory to open our second location, and it was in that warehouse. So it was like overnight, everything was gone. And then I was actually telling AJ, my marketing manager, on the way down here, we rented an office across from the Wendy's, right, like half mile down the road, like day after the fire. And I was like, yeah, that's where like I rebuilt it.
What was going through your head at the time?
So, it was like a lot of different things going on. My head was all over the place. I was like, I just lost like all this money. Like, is insurance going to pay me? And like, you think like, oh, you're insured, right? They're just going to walk in like,
Hand you a check.
Take
like,
care of
here you go. But they're like, I had this like big insurance policy, and they're like, well, you need to prove everything what you had. Here's $70,000 to get started. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like,
Yeah.
like my policy is like $1 million limit on it. They're like, oh yeah, but you have to prove everything. I'm like, I don't have anything. But everything's gone. Like, and so it was like a whole process. And like, I know more about like liability and general liability insurance now than like anyone should know. Like, I read my policy. Like, when you get insurance now, you get a policy. It looks like this big. Well, the real policy is like this big, and they tell you like, this is we're not going to pay this because of X, Y, and Z. So I learned all about that. Realized I need to just get out of town and figure things out. So I went to California to a trade show, like a koi show, for a week. Cleared my head. Figured out like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna. It was spring, and that's like the big thing in this business. So it's our busy season. Like I'm sure maybe like weddings or like busy season for you, but if you don't open by the spring, you like missed a year. So I got back. I opened up a store in Fairfield, and then I opened up a store right in Greenbrook, which is still our location today, and just was like, we need to get going. We need to do it. And I like took all my savings, maxed out all my credit cards, and just put my head down and did it. I mean, I don't even know how it happened. I just like, you're in like this blur of just working every single day, and you're making decisions that now, like I would think a lot harder about. But it was just, there was no time to like think about decisions. Just do it.
And as like a leader, like how did you kind of preface it to like your team too?
So I would had to always be like positive, like not show any emotion. Like if I was like worried or like didn't know how I was going to make payroll the next week, like just do it, figure it out. And I always like, I led the team in that aspect of, hey, we got this. Don't worry. I'm taking care of everybody. I mean, I paid every employee through all of it. No one got like laid off. No one didn't get paid. So it was tough. I mean, it was probably one of the hardest things I went through. But if I didn't go through something like that, I probably wouldn't be here because I learned so much during it.
And then you also went through the pandemic too.
Yeah.
So it's like the fire happened and then the pandemic kind of happened too?
Yeah, we're still fighting the insurance company to get paid out fully, like through the pandemic. So it was always like a dangling carrot. But it turns out during the pandemic, everybody wanted to buy koi. So and wanted ponds in their backyard. So it was a huge uptick. But it was a worrying time. I remember sitting in my house listening to Governor Murphy, or I think that was Governor at the time. Yeah. And he was like, pet stores can be open. And I was like, all right, I'm a pet store. I'm a pet store. Let's do it. And service-based like landscape businesses, which I fell under, like we're allowed to work. So there were some limitations there, but it was like, imagine being on that list and being crushed, like barbers, hair salons, I mean, nail salons, all shut down. So I was really fortunate, but it was really nerve-wracking when you're going to listen to like a Zoom call and hear like, oh, can I work or can I not work?
Damn.
Yeah. Was it tough, like getting materials during that time, or like getting the like koi fish shipped out?
A little bit from Japan because there was a lot of restrictions on flights.
Yeah.
So like the freight rate went really crazy, and we're still dealing with that today because there's still limited flights between Japan and America. And then just production stuff. Now we have to forecast and hold a lot more inventory on hand because of the COVID times. And we're finally seeing daylight on it.
Damn. And then working these like 80, 90-hour weeks, like what keeps you pushing, like motivated? Like how are you still able to produce such a heavy work output still today?
Back in the day, I mean, I had to do so much work in the business then, and then also on the business. And now it's like, I love the grind of like actually doing all the work and being there hands-on. But today I'm still working just as much. It's just a different kind of work now. You know, it's managing people, managing the business, but just always to grow it. And then when you didn't have enough staff, like the right people to do jobs, you just have to do it yourself. So it was just not an option. Like there was so much work out there, and you just wanted to do it the right way.
Damn. When did you know you wanted to start implementing content into the business for like marketing purposes?
So I think I started my Instagram like 10 years ago.
Oh, shit.
Maybe. I mean, I don't even know when Instagram came out.
Nah, probably 10 years ago.
10 years ago. So I've always like, since YouTube was out, I always was like, oh, I'm going to do a YouTube channel. And like, I've just dragged my ass for years. Like, oh, I'm going to post once a week. I'm going to do it. And I just, but now like seeing the value in it that we sell online and we can ship all over the world, it's like the content's huge, but I've always knew it was important, especially for like the next generation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love doing the content now. It's like my favorite thing. It's like make a viral video. Like it's just, to me, it's like so much fun. I get like these, I have like 20 bad viral video ideas a day, but I'll still try almost all of them. Nice. And it's just, content's great because it's like, you never know, like it just takes one view.
Exactly.
Like it's not about like the millions of views or like, you know, like sometimes the best customer is just like, they just saw like one stupid video that got like 100 plays. And it's like, awesome. So I just love doing it now. Like the phone makes it so easy. You just whip the phone out, video it.
Exactly. And like that's what I tell people. Like you can just do content whenever you want. Like you don't need like, yeah, of course, hire MediaX marketing to do your content, but you can just do it yourself and people are still going to love it because it's the content. It's not like always how it looks, but it's just what you're giving to the people, the substance to it. Yeah,
but there's not like a day where I was like, hey, I need to do it. I think one of the girls that worked with me back in the day was like, oh, Fitz, you should make an Instagram. And they like made it. And then we just started. But there's always been good things that happen from it. Like that customer in California that invited me out to be like the New Jersey branch for him. So.
And were you always comfortable in front of the camera? Was that something you had to get used to?
So being like in like a video, like face on, at first I wasn't comfortable at all. It was like awkward and choppy. But then once you do like one or two and then you watch yourself, you listen to yourself, you realize, okay, I can do this a little bit better. I can tweak this. And then you just do it. And you just.
Yeah. You almost create like not like a different persona, but you kind of like click into a different mindset. Like once the camera starts rolling, you're talking to camera. There's like a different like language you take on, like a different like format in which you're talking. I definitely know what you mean. Like when I first started coming here, Joe wanted me to hop in front of the camera and do in-house content for us all the time. And I'm like, I didn't even know like what I did anymore. I was like, hi, my name's Thomas. And then like in time, it becomes natural.
And do you have any tips for people that are just starting to be in front of the camera?
Just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's do it, watch yourself. And like today content, like you don't have to be in front of the camera. Some of the best YouTubers, the best short channels, like they're not in front of the camera. They're just showing stuff. They're doing voiceovers. Yeah. And they're, because my job now is to inspire my employees to want to be on camera or creating content. And like, I just need a video. Just take a video, 30 seconds like this, and I'll do the voiceover. I don't care. And that's like the biggest struggle. People like think it's like, oh, I have to be on camera. Like, but the tip for being is just watch yourself, do it over and over again. And I mean, realize once you get that one sale, when that customer calls you, hey, I saw your YouTube video, I'm going to spend $10,000 with you, then it doesn't matter. Like, you're like, all right, I'm going to do it. Like, like, we just had a customer, I was over in Japan for a wedding, and someone hit me up through TikTok and was like, hey, I want to buy some koi. I'm on vacation with my family. And it was like a $35,000 sale.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, all right, all those stupid TikToks I made, like, that's worth it. Off. And that's like a direct, you can't always track them, but it's like a direct tracking thing.
Do you remember the first video that took off for you?
Like, first one back in the day, it was like just like a koi breeder. This is when like Instagram still wanted you to post like this way.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Yeah, now everything's changed. Like it's so annoying now because you got to film like
Vertical.
short form and vertical content. And you need to make a camera that does both,
Yeah.
or just hire MediaX.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
But it was like just a koi video, like of a breeder like carrying a fish in a net, and the fish went into a bag and then into a bowl. And that's when I realized like that those kind of videos do really well because it makes people want to watch the whole video. And that video, it was before your videos could really get into like an algorithm and be hit. And that one got like 250,000, and it just boosted the whole page. And that was pretty cool.
Damn. And you've grown over to 100,000 followers on the page now.
Yeah, we have like 127, I think now.
Damn, that's crazy.
Oh.
Has it been like a steady growth, or were certain videos kind of pushing the growth?
So definitely we have a few videos that really like expedite it. Like some today, like we post a few of them, and they just every day we're getting 100 followers now. And I don't know how the videos, they just hit and they just keep going. It's like this, like they just keep chipping away at it. And then other times the video just stops. And even like the best video sometimes I think did like really good on another platform, it won't do good on a different one. And it's so hard to predict. You just got to post.
Exactly. Yeah, you just got to keep going with it.
You can repost the same video on the same account a month later with a different song, and it might do differently.
Yeah, I've said this to people. I'm like, you can like repost those videos in the past that like you thought were good. It just sometimes it sucks. You post something on Instagram and it'll show it to like 2 people, and other times it'll show it to the entire world.
Did any of the lower view videos kind of affect your mental, or like do you just not care, just on to the next one?
Sometimes if I like work hard at a video, like I get a little like, damn, like I thought that was gonna be better.
Yeah.
Right. Like, but we just post another one, and just maybe we'll repost that one in a few weeks or a few months. Like, something that does stink is like we do a lot of business with like I guess influencers, and like we'll give our content to them, and they'll like tag us. And like they'll post one of our videos, and then it'll get like 20 million views. And then we'll post the same video that we gave them that video, and it'll get like, 1 million.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, still cool, but they have that somehow they get into the algorithm better, and then
Do you remember like the first like notable person you worked with was like a celebrity influencer, and did that like create like a chain effect for like others?
So in 2019, like my Japan trip before COVID, I had 3 like influencers come to Japan with me. Raw Fishing, Coral Fish 12G, and this guy Greg Whitstock, the pond guy. And like together they have like 7 million on like YouTube. And that's where like I learned so much that trip. It was like really eye-opening. Like these 20-year-old kids making like, $500,000 a year, like running around making videos like all over the world. It's like, okay, that's cool. And there's like people that are influencers that have a YouTube channel or an Instagram to support, like that's their business.
Yeah.
And there's a guy like me, like, I do content to support. I mean, like they do influencing that's their life, right? They need to get paid from ads, from sponsorships, to do all that. Like my stuff just does to support my business. So, and just seeing how dedicated they were, because if they don't post videos, they don't get views, they don't get paid. And like, I'm just trying to get paid through my customers to see my videos, and just to watch their personalities and their detail and how dedicated they are to making the videos was like, I took a lot away from that trip. And I mean, I learned so much, and I'm friends with all 3 of them today. I mean, I talk to Raw Fishing, my buddy Franklin, like at least 3 times a week, like talking about content, shorts, and how YouTube's changing, how Instagram's changing. And it's just, I mean, we're always passing ideas around, and it's cool.
Is there like marketing strategy to like the post, or is it kind of whatever happens at that specific time?
So he'll like, now he's doing more like scripts, but sometimes you never know what's going to happen. And then we just kind of roll with it and get as much content while you're there. And he tries to do like a little bit of a storyline. But just like the energy and the personality that he has to create to be on camera. Like if you watch his videos, you'll be like, or even like my videos, like I try to be like higher energy. Like right now we're like in a chill environment. I'm not going to be like shouting at the podcast mic. But I realized like even when I was in the past, I would talk on like my first videos like this, like really like just chill, relaxed. But then I realized I had to like bring my energy like up to here, and then you watch the video and you're like here. So it's like when you're doing videos, like get as excited as you can, be like so into it. If you're talking about like a rock, who even cares? But like just be so overexcited about it, and like the audience like
They can feel
they
it.
want to see it.
Ben, clip this and share this to everyone who comes in to do talking heads.
Yeah, please.
I was like, this is literally like what I tell people. I'm like, if you talk louder, like you'll automatically be more confident in like what you're saying.
People can always lower their volume on
Yeah.
the computer. They don't care.
we can do it in post.
Exactly. Is there like certain platforms that you see working for you better than others?
So like working in terms of generating
Just, like,
leads,
yeah,
or
leads
like
or like impressions or anything like that.
so we get our most impressions right now probably on TikTok when I get like after it. The most I think easy to grow right now is on YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
Instagram we get I don't know 5 to 8 million impressions a month,
Okay.
and like you can't quantify that. It's like huge for us.
Yeah.
And then Facebook, just because like the demographic that my business is geared towards, we do a lot of paid ads on there. We also do some Facebook Reels, which start to take off a little bit here and there, but we do a lot of paid supported ads on Facebook, and that generates a lot of business.
What do you tell like business owners that are still in like an antiquated kind of marketing strategy where they're only doing like print or just in feed posts, or do you have any like tips for other business owners in the service industry specifically?
That like posts and like pictures with text on them.
Yeah.
It's like 20 years ago. Like people want to buy from a person, a personality, or a voice,
Exactly.
and they want to watch a video. And don't do any print.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to touch on. You just sold Koi to Shaq, right?
Yeah.
And
we did.
how did that whole story happen?
So my buddy Greg, who owns this company called Aquascape, he built a pond for Shaq, and we're in Japan together, and he's like, yo, we should get like this massive koi for Shaq. I was like, all right, let's do it. So we found this like huge koi over 3 feet, and we sold it to Shaq, and he loved it. We drove it down to from New Jersey to Georgia and delivered it to him.
Damn, that's crazy. Do you think videos like that are going to spawn more celebrity endorsements and things like that?
Possibly, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was pretty funny. He did like he called it, I'm going to name the fish Charles Barkley. And I had like, we have a girl who does like a lot of artwork for us, is a girl, Ray. And she like made a custom koi box with like, had like Shaquille O'Neal on it. I'll get you a picture of it. And it was really cool. And he's just like, this koi's like really fat. I'm going to name it Charles Barkley. Everyone just lost it. Like the New York Post did like a little clip about it.
That's funny.
And I mean, maybe I would love to sell Jake Paul if you're subscribed to the podcast.
Paul.
I know you just got a house with a pond. Come get some koi.
Tag him in the post, Ben.
I was just gonna say, like, like when someone's like looking like to get a koi fish, like, are some people just like, I just want the biggest thing you got? Like, what? Or do you have to like kind of like
what
walk?
characteristics?
Like, do you have to like walk them through of like what's realistic for like their home, the pond that they have?
Yeah, so it all depends on like the pond they have,
Yeah.
their budget, of course, because we can get like a yellow fish like that's 12 inches for retail like $500,
Yeah.
or you can get a yellow fish that's 12 inches for $4,000. So it's all relative, like where they are in the hobby, what do they want to do with the koi, how big do they want it to get, and their level of like koi keeping. So, but we try to sell fish from $30 to 50,000, 100,000, whatever someone wants to spend. So we hit every part of the market. And
What makes a koi fish worth like $100,000?
If it could be shown and like win like a really good prize at a show in Japan, the patterns, how rare it is, the size. So it's like living art. So they're creating these fish, and it started out as like a koi that was like this big, culled and bred and fed. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. And there's only maybe like one koi like that in the world, and people, they fall in love with them. They really want them.
And what's your favorite part about like sourcing the koi?
I like the Japan trips. It's a lot of fun. It allows me to disconnect from the business in New Jersey, and like, you've traveled, being away from the business in a different time zone is like really eye opening from like a CEO entrepreneur standpoint. It's like, I'm going to bed and my whole team's waking up to do their day, and I'm not going to get an update until I wake up in the morning. So I'm disconnected. And then being out there, like just being disconnected and then just selling the koi and just, I don't know, hanging out there. And the food is really good.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about the Japanese culture?
The people are really nice, and everyone's super polite. And and it's very clean. There's no garbage cans anywhere, but it's insanely clean. And
How do you communicate out there?
I speak enough Japanese to like
Oh shit.
buy a fish
Get by.
and
Yeah.
order a beer.
Oh
There you
shit. Tell us, how do you order a beer in Japanese?
Namabiru.
That's it.
There you go.
You want to hop into rapid fire questions?
Yeah, let's do rapid fire.
All right.
Well, first I'm gonna touch on like, obviously like things have grown so big, but is there? I'm trying to. What's the word?
Like a next opportunity,
Like a next
level?
like checkpoint that you're trying to get to, that you see the business getting to another level.
So right now we're just like looking for growth opportunities, like,
Yeah.
but we're not like forcing them.
Yeah.
So if a competitor wants to sell new products in the marketplace, we're getting a little bit into the aquaculture market with some of our filtration. So that's like a lot bigger market than koi fish. So just seeing where those things take us and having the backbone of the infrastructure makes it a lot easier to like grow the next jump.
Awesome.
100%. Rapid fire?
Rapid fire.
So we just do a segment on our show. We just spit fire some rapid fire questions at you. Some could be serious,
Just
some could be
random.
not serious.
Yeah.
All right.
Just answer them however you want. Your biggest inspiration?
I've never been asked that before. Come back to that one.
Oh man. Your favorite koi fish that you've ever seen?
Anyone that I sell.
Anyone that you
Anyone?
sell?
They're all my favorite that I sell.
Good answer.
What would be your dream project?
Really big celebrity wants a pond, source fish, come to Japan, and just like be like a crazy video. The whole experience would be sick.
That'd be so sick. Going like over there, like picking out with the person too.
Yeah.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah.
Your favorite thing to eat in Japan?
Wagyu beef.
Ooh.
That's solid.
Let's switch it up. What's your favorite pizza place in the Bridgewater area?
I don't live in Bridgewater anymore, but let me.
But you grew up here,
I just got to go with Chimney Rock Inn, the thin
Ooh.
crust.
Chimney Rock Inn.
Yeah.
Where's that?
right by your house.
Oh, sick. I'll have to check that out sometime.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Ben loves it. Ben's a Bridgewater guy.
Yeah, Chimney Rock's great. So I imagine fishing or transporting fish isn't always like the easiest. Do you have any like horror story of a transportation thing that happened, or has it always been pretty smooth?
I mean, we ship koi with UPS next to air, and they lose them sometimes.
Really?
And it's just like, well, the box is 30 inches long. Like, how did you lose it? And like, yeah, we don't know where it is. It's just gone. And we're like,
That's
you know, it was
UPS for you.
the Shaq koi delivering that. We stopped at my buddy's store in North Carolina because the fish was really big and somehow it put a hole in the bag. So we had to go to my friend's store on the way to Georgia and repack the
God.
koi to make sure it's alive. That was a little nerve wracking.
I imagine the panic and that.
We were just like, all right, so we're going to do, drain it, fix it up, and get it done.
Yeah, it seems like there's like with what you do, like no time to like dwell on certain things. You just have to have this like positive productivity, like figure out a solution and move on.
Yeah. One time we ship koi from Japan, right? So it's just like when you travel, you need to get like imported back to the country.
Yeah.
So I forgot to do one piece of paperwork for a koi shipment, and I left the airport, and like the government called me like, you need to come back right now with all the koi. And I was like, if I come back, they're all going to die. And then they're like, well, they're in the country illegally. It was like this whole mess. And then like the next day, I had to go back to like I had to pack up all the fish
my
and
God.
bring them back to like this government headquarters in New York. And they sat me in this like big conference room, read me the riot act. And I was like, sorry, I'm not a drug smuggler. I just sell koi.
It's just koi.
So that was like the ultimate horror story that I had with it.
Is there like one thing that you keep doing to keep innovating your business?
Just try to get just better and like learn from my staff, other competitors, like what they're doing, what's working, what's not working, and then just be more efficient.
Favorite type of watch? I noticed you have a nice one.
I like Rolex.
A specific model?
No, any professional model. I like that you can buy it, wear it, and it's worth more money. So it's
Joe,
like,
you have yours on?
Put it
Boom.
on. Ben, go.
Is there a particularly rare fish that stands out to you that you've
Other than
sourced?
koi.
no, we just source koi, so nothing besides koi.
Is there like anything you do outside of work that like any hobbies?
I like to go fishing sometimes. Ironic. I love to travel, but when I travel, I always try to like do something with work. So I was just in Bali, and Indonesia is a huge market for koi. So I met with the people out there that sell koi and are in the same business. So I'm always like piggybacking my travel with like koi related stuff.
Do you ever like see like in your travels, like do you ever see anything, whether it's like art or just anything, or like you see like colors and you're like, all right, I'm gonna look for a koi fish that kind of represents that kind of color scheme or something like that. Like it inspires you almost to search for one like that.
Not really. I mean, if I have like a painting of a koi, like maybe I'll try to find like that similar koi, and I
Yeah.
can just for fun. But it's sometimes I
Yeah.
like finding ponds. Like when I'm just on vacation, there's like a koi pond, and I'll just like take my phone out and do a quick YouTube video. And it's like I can write the whole trip off now.
Yeah, exactly.
My high school had a koi pond in the middle of our courtyard.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
We gotta hook him up. Get some koi in there. Have you ever seen the
Yeah, for
Michael
sure.
Scott thing where he falls into a koi pond?
Oh, I love that.
What's one piece of advice you'd give your younger self?
These are some good. You didn't prepare me for these questions, Joe.
Yeah, these are the rapid fires.
Yeah, this is where we get you.
Buy more insurance before your building burns
There
down.
you go. And then a piece of it. This one kind of gets people sometimes. There's a piece of advice that you would give your older self.
Don't think that much. Be like more like your younger self.
There you go.
Biggest inspiration?
I like watching Gary V a lot. I like his how he's always so positive and just how he manages people and his marketing.
Awesome.
And where can the people find out more about Fitz's Fish Ponds and if they wanted to get a quote or anything like that?
We have an Instagram, Fitz Fish Ponds, and then fitzfishponds.com. And I got a question for you guys for rapid fire.
Yeah.
Hell
You
yeah.
guys seen some of my content. What's one thing you would change, do different, I could do better from the pros?
What do you think, Joe?
I think maybe add a more comedic aspect to things too. Because I feel like a lot of it is like serious or just like reels. But if you add maybe like some funny things that happen within the koi, just like owning a koi fish or something like that, something that the customer can kind of relate to on like a daily basis.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah, I was even thinking of like, I guess more like how much of like SEO content you're doing, but stuff to where like, you know, people just having like those random questions and then like they can just be directly like be shot directly to a video of you explaining like whether it's the process of buying a koi and like I don't know, I always find that like if someone like if I'm looking for something and I just want a question answered and there's somebody that answers it and like goes above and beyond doing it, then I'll most likely go to them with my business as well.
Nice. No, that's a good idea.
But yeah, I feel like content is it's like almost like what people want to make of it. It's like it can be as grand and great. Like people, like some people want to bring out the whole production crew and they want to do like huge brand videos and content like that. But I think that stuff is great. But like the consistency in which you guys do things,
Yeah, like owning a koi and like the struggles of having a koi and kind of be more relatable to the client itself after the fact.
yeah.
I like that.
And is there a quote you want to leave us off with to that camera?
That one there.
Yep.
Just take chances. Work hard.
Brian Fitzsimmons, everybody.
Yes, sir.